We're back with You're an Idiot. This week we got a special one for y'all. The 3-in-1. Basically, we couldn't come to an agreement on who the idiot would be. So we're all going to tell y'all who we think deserves the idiot for week 9 of the NFL. So I'll start. The New Orleans Saints. Come on down, New Orleans Saints. Come on down. Now, here's the thing. I will say, before I, cook them, I appreciate you guys as a Commanders fan for letting us get Marshawn Lattimore. Really, I do appreciate it. That being said, though, far too late. Far too late. First of all, we were all questioning. You can go look at our catalog. It's one of our most popular videos. Why the Saints did this last year. Like, why are you coming into the season with Derek Carr and this old cast of characters on defense, Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, they just brought in Chase Young. Like, they're passing themselves up as if they have some win-now team. I think Alvin Kamara is like 29. He's their best player, and, running backs matter and all that, right, Charlie? But that being said, though, it all comes to a head that they just lost to the Bryce Young-led Panthers. When you do that, and now you finally fire your coach. Now you're trading assets. Now you're doing the thing that we've been thought you should have done years ago. Or I mean, 3 years ago. At least when most teams who have aging rosters have like a flash sale or whatever, going out of business sale, something. Mm-hmm. But you guys really carried it. Like, you can watch the Bible, Taysom Hill, whatever. You guys really carried it. Like you guys had some win-now team. And before I move on, let Charlie go, I will, because this is my idiot, I will bring up the point that Charlie likes to point out, which is that they basically are waiting for Sean Payton to come back, or were waiting for Sean Payton to come back. And because of that, they've left themselves open to idiocy.
They honestly, the reason I didn't feel comfortable with calling the Saints an idiot this week is because firing Dennis Allen was the least idiotic thing they've done in the last 3 years. So I couldn't do it. For me, I had to go with the Indianapolis Colts. Colts, come on down. I don't get it. You knew what quarterback you were drafting. You knew this guy had like 10 starts in his life, but he had all the talent in the world. And after watching one game, I was like, all right, maybe they benched them for disciplinary actions because, you can't quit on your team like that. The tapping his helmet, asking to get out because he was tired.
Tired, I ain't gonna lie.
Maybe I figured like, all right, maybe they're slapping him on the wrist. It's like a team suspension. You're just not going to play. They said they're going to start Joe Flacco for the rest of the season. That's the plan. Why? What are you learning? Your team isn't even much better with Joe Flacco. You are going to choose to start a 40-year-old quarterback in a lost season instead of using this season to develop the 23-year-old quarterback that you just drafted a year ago. This makes no sense to me. Anthony Richardson, if they don't want to sell him, other teams will take him. Most teams around the league have unanimously said this was an immature benching because he was this player. He was a player that needed a lot of reps, a lot of seasoning, and to kind of abandon that midway through his second season, not even a whole 16 games because he's been hurt, to abandon that now, that's the dumbest thing for a 40-year-old in a season you're not going to win. Where? Why?
Okay.
How does that make sense? So if they were to bench him and they were like 5-3 or something like that, and they were winning, they had a chance to win the division. They're not. They don't have a chance. Look at their roster. Look at the team.
Can't tell that
they don't look that much better with Joe Flacco. If they looked a lot better with Joe Flacco, then I'd be like, all right, you got it. But they don't. They don't look that much better with Joe Flacco.
Charlie, I got to push back.
To bench this quarterback, this young quarterback that was like this when you got him, like it's not like he looks different. This is what he was when you drafted him, and now you're saying we're giving the whole season to Joe Flacco. I don't get it. That's this beyond dumb to me.
Charlie, I mean, they are idiots, but kind of in a roundabout way, not because of that, because you have to look at it like this. Joe Flacco had 2 other starts, and he looked pretty decent. The offense actually looked functional. You got to understand, I think for the season, I think, if don't quote me on this, but I think his Anthony Richardson's like completion percentage is like 44, which is like less than Tim Tebow. So I just want us to know, like, that's the level of putrid we're talking about. So even if they plan on developing him, he might be somebody that needs like development off the field, like not in front of our team. And when you're 4-4, it's hard to sell to like grown men going out there and risking their lives. Like when you have a chance to maybe make the playoffs, do some decent things, to like push that out at quarterback week in and week out. So I do get that they're idiotic for like drafting him and not knowing that this is what they drafted and that this was going to take time. They probably shouldn't have started him immediately. He should have probably just been getting on the field.
So
they're probably more idiotic for that, to be honest with you.
And so, Frank, I know you have an idiot to present, but before you go, I do want to respond to this and say, first of all, I didn't know where we were going. You start talking about football stats. I thought you was about to start talking about mixing and mastering and all types of all types of stuff like that. Like,
shout out to Speed, paved the way for all this rapping shit.
Like putting out albums, and I didn't know what you was talking about. We talking about
that's beside the point. I just want to just
Anthony Richardson, the rapper. You're saying he needs to fix his bars and then his completion percentage. Is that what
bars
you're saying?
I wasn't impressed with the bars, first of all. But
they're not good.
But realistically, though, like, no, Frank is right, bro. Like, I understand this is a quarterback-centric league, but something got to give. And at some point, he pulling himself out of games. He's injury prone. He can't get the ball to makers. Huh?
A play.
Whatever. He pulled himself out of a game because he was tired. He can't even stay on the healthy. He can't stay on the field. He can't get the ball to his receivers. At some point, you got to kick the tires and see what your team can do. Like, I get it. It's not like a popular decision. I just can't see that making them idiotic. Of course, Joe Flacco is old and XYZ, but it's like, dog, Josh Downs don't want to keep not being able to catch the ball. Michael Pittman wants a chance to be able to catch the ball. Jonathan Taylor wants some running lanes, like from a throwing threat. Like, it's just, I get what you're saying. You're an Anthony Richardson fan. There's no way for you to unbe an Anthony Richardson fan, okay? But the reality is, you can't just keep. I mean, how many things we gonna keep building around this dude? He keep getting hurt. Then he pulls himself out of a game. Then
keep
we don't
building
know
around the guy. He hasn't
stuff.
gotten 16 starts. He hasn't started a season.
Nor should you when you going 10 for 32, bro.
And
you're not gonna get no 16 starts.
He cannot develop what he needs to learn from the bench. I just don't get it. Frank, you can present whatever you want. To me, it's not going to make sense.
I get it. I feel you.
Well, either way, right? Frank doesn't think either one of us are right because he thinks there's a whole nother idiot to this.
Yeah, there's like these are little peach poshes to me. You know what I'm saying? The real idiot, the real idiot, the shining stars, I'd like to call them, is the Dallas Cowboys. Because I don't know if you guys know, but for me, I felt like I've been quiet this season and I just let something go under the radar that I shouldn't have let go. And, you know, this week really, like, it really, really, really hit home for me when I saw that they were putting Dak on IR. And I remembered that they paid him $60 million a year and made him the highest paid player in the league. So the Cowboys in this offseason, they took all of their time and were dilly-dallying around. They could have signed a running back like Derrick Henry, who I know running backs don't matter that much, but when you look at the running backs on their team, I think maybe some semblance of a running back matters in that case. So like Derrick Henry was wanting to go to Dallas. He was like, hey, come get me, guys. You guys didn't look at him. You didn't do nothing to improve the offense when you were going to pay this bum-ass quarterback. You knew that this is the quarterback you were bringing back. He needs everything possible to help him. You paid him like he was a world beater, which I don't understand why. And we're like, oh yeah, we're loading all in. Let's go. Yeah, this is the time. Let's do it. All in for this. This is the worst all-in attempt I have seen in my life. And then what do you do today? You trade for Jonathan Mingo? Like after like he's not even good. Like what are we doing here? What exactly is it that you're trying to
man.
Are you still in it at 3 and 5? You might. I don't even know if they're the third best team in the NFC East. I cannot be sure that the Giants are worse than I'm not sure. I'm really not, because they have no defensive line. They didn't address that either. They didn't attempt to address that. Your offensive line is getting worse. You didn't address that either. What exactly did you address, or are you addressing, or what did you think was going to happen with your quarterback with no arm?
They brought Zeke back.
At how old?
And
What
they
year is
did- and-
this? What
And
year
they
are we
didn't
in?
fire the radio host, so there's that.
So Mike McCarthy got fired for the Packers to bring in a new talented, up and coming play caller, play designer, as a coach, and you brought him in to do what? That was supposed to be an upgrade from what? Or what to what? Jerry Jones is the gift that keeps on giving. As a Washington fan myself, I love to see them in this kind of turmoil because I was mad that Dallas has been able to have the success they've had over the course of these years, and they've wasted it with a bum quarterback. And then at the end, at the twilight of all of the abilities he had, you're like, yes, this is the time to now pay him. If that's not idiotic, I don't know what is.
I love it, man.
So it's not even like they did it this week. This was like it exploded. It was like, all right, enough is enough. So it was like you're like, I can't watch this $60 million quarterback go on IR and no one talk about this. We're just gonna let that go.
Because now's when he gets to get an
you
excuse
mentioned
like,
it at
oh,
the
he
end.
didn't play. It's like, oh, he got hurt.
And you know what it is? You know
No,
what it
but
is?
no,
We know
no.
out of us, Frank has a lot of friends, and I know a lot of them have to be Dallas fans.
Yes,
and he's
I do.
always when Dak plays well, he's on an island by himself fighting against the Dak brigade. And it's when this happens, it gets quiet.
Here it's a safe space. I'll tell you that. Here it's a safe space.
Oh, yeah,
you can talk about that.
I appreciate it. This group gives me comfort.
I will say you only threw in Mike McCarthy at the end, and I think he needs to be a bigger portion of this pie.
No, go ahead.
I mean, I think Mike McCarthy, I think Jerry Jones values yes men over good football coaches. I mean, he showed this. That's why he fired Jimmy Johnson back in the day. He will keep him. He'll keep who's the last guy they had this on Fox?
Jason
Kept him
Garrett
for years. He didn't need to be the
coach
coach for years
because
he wasn't going to question his power. He said that's fine. Like he's not going to go in here and bring a good. He'd rather have the yes man than go out and get his Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur is going to think for himself. That's absolutely
out of the question.
That's out of the question. It's like, first thing, what's your name? I don't know, Theon. It's Reek. Get out of here. Like that's it. Don't play with me.
Oh man. All right, man. Well, look, man, that's 3 idiots and 1 for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Hope y'all enjoyed it. This has been Soggy Nachos Podcast. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Run and tell somebody about us. Peace.
Bears, y'all lucky y'all ain't make it.